Hi, I'm Robbie Lawler.
What's up, Fight Family? This is your favorite MMA coach, Thiago Alves, the Pitbull.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Pedro Munoz.
This is Mike Brown.
Guys, I am Alexei Olenik. And welcome.
And welcome.
And welcome.
And welcome.
And this is We Want Picks.
And you're watching We Want Picks.
To We Want Picks.
We Want Picks.
To We Want Picks.
To We Want Picks. Hi, everybody from American Top Picks.
My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. Jacob and I are going to break down some fights. We're going to build a full card parlay. We're going to do all of this before UFC Vegas 50, Santos versus Ankalaev, kicks off. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through every single fight. We're going to talk about the fight. We're going to tell you who we think wins, how and why. And you guys are going to give us your picks in the live chat. And if it hits, then we're going to build a parlay with those picks. And if that parlay hits, I give it to the members of this channel. So if you want in on that parlay, you want in on a potentially big payday, click the join button under the video. It supports us and it qualifies you for all of our payouts. So let's jump right in. But before we do, $50 free. You know the sales pitch, guys. WeWantPicks.com/bets. Sign up with any one of our 5 betting partners. Make a deposit. Let us know after you do it. We send you $50 as a thank you. Hey, Jake, which fight are you most excited for today?
It's Jacob.
Oh, Jesus. My bad.
My mom doesn't like when people say Jake. So
no, it makes sense.
It's Jacob if you don't mind.
Oh, I get it.
So you can start over, ask it again, use my correct name.
Okay. Which fight are you most excited for?
It's got to be the Pereira fight, right? I think everyone is excited to see, because it's like Pereira's first real test, and this is a real test for Pereira. So we'll get into it a little bit later, but I think I'm definitely excited for the Pereira fight for sure.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's got to be, right? And
is that the opening? Is that the main card opener? Is that the lineup?
I got to check the
order.
Probably
should be.
I mean, I really put my neck out on the line for that fight. So we'll find out what happens. And this stream is brought to you by BETU Play to Earn. It is the world's first online sports and esports betting game. Check it out now at betuearn.com. That's bet, the letter U, earn.com. And if you guys like crypto and sports betting, it literally is a perfect matchup. You cannot lose any money whatsoever. And you get to earn some crypto if you hit your bets. You lose your bets, it doesn't matter. You hit your bets, you mine more crypto. It's pretty fun. And let's jump right in. Opening up the UFC Vegas 50 card, we have Tafon Nchukwi taking on Azamat Murzakanov. Tafon Nchukwi 9-3 overall, 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off a decision win over Mike Slow Rodriguez, and he more than doubled Mike's strikes in that fight. Azamat Murzakanov 9-4 overall, 5-0 in his last 5. He's coming off a Contender Series knockout in August. This is Tafon's...
You still didn't even fix the graphic. I thought you were going to fix the graphic.
Oh, I actually did on the individual videos. Well, anyway, Azamat's 10-0. Yeah, that is crazy. I'm almost positive.
Oh, yeah, what happened? I don't know. Oh, it's crazy.
Nobody knows.
Never happened when I was doing the graphics.
Okay. Tafon Nchukwi, or no, yes, you threw me off. Tafon Nchukwi, this is his second fight back up at light heavyweight. Tafon's a good technical striker. He has legit power and technique. His issue is volume and speed sometimes. But when he's in a rhythm, he's in a solid rhythm. He comes forward. He really puts things together. He showed us in that last fight against Mike Rodriguez that he actually isn't just a striker. He got 3 takedowns in that fight, and he had 5 full minutes of control time. So really showing how well-rounded he's become. Azamat Murzakanov, he's not the biggest light heavyweight in the division, but he is solid as hell and has legit power. He's fast. He's heavy-handed. He's a good wrestler. He's got solid ground and pound, but his hands are so good that he hasn't really needed to go to him yet. He hasn't really had to wrestle in the UFC just yet, even though he is a solid wrestler. He had a great Contender Series win in the summer of 2021. He has had a bad luck since then, just trying to get a fight booked. He's had 3 different fights booked, 3 different opponents backed out. This should be a fun fight, honestly. They could either throw hands, go at it. Janet Watson, welcome to the club, and hopefully this parlay hits and we can pay you out.
It might be Janae. Janae.
Okay. Well, welcome. Very, very much.
Janae Watson. I think
said
it's Janae
welcome very
Watson.
much. My brain is so foggy right now. Thank you and welcome. Anyway, these guys could slug it out, or what I think is more likely, I think Azamat goes back to his wrestling because I think Tafon is probably the most dangerous striker he's fought so far in the UFC. So Azamat's going to use that wrestling he has in his back pocket, and he's got a freaking brick head. I think Azamat wins. You guys let us know who you think wins, and we will add them to the full card parlay. Jacob, what are your thoughts while I try to put up a poll?
Yeah, I think that you're kind of clueless on this fight. I think Tafon wins, and I think it becomes. I think it comes down to the clinches. I think there's going to be a lot of clinching in this fight. And Tafon, if you watch him in his fights, he absolutely loves the clinches. And when he's in the clinch, he will just rip your body apart. And when it comes to Azamat, this is a guy that's got 8 first-round finishes in his 10 fights. He's 10-0, 8 first-round finishes. He hasn't really seen adversity yet, right? If you haven't lost, you haven't really seen real adversity. I think in this fight, he finds adversity for the first time. I'm not super confident in this pick. I started making confidence picks this week where 14 would be my highest. 1 is my lowest. I put this as a 1 for Tafon because Azamat probably is talented. He probably should win, but I just don't see I don't think he's been really tested yet by high-level competition. You look at those 8 first-round finishes. He has 1 against a 22-4 Andre Muniz, who is a 185 or like a naturally 185. Azamat, kind of a weight bully, came down a few times to fight at 185. Another one of his wins is against a 170 guy who's a 14-4 170 pounder. And then the other records are 0-5, 4-18, 1-7, 5-5, 0-1, 6-8, 10-6. This is going to be a real test for him, and if he can get through Tafon, the next fight, I'll be all over him. But in this fight, I think Tafon with his body work. He knows how to go the distance. He looks kind of like one of those big knockout guys that he can't go the distance, but he can't go the distance. He works the body. He's got good kicks. I just think he's the more well-rounded fighter. Obviously, if he ends up on his back, that's bad news. That's why I put him as a 1 on my confidence picks. But my pick in this fight is going to be Tafon.
Yeah, and so we have got a poll up on YouTube. So use the poll. It's going to be really annoying for me to do that all, because Jacob somehow can't do it on his end. So now I'm juggling this whole freaking thing by myself while Jacob just sits there sipping cafe lattes. Thank you so much.
Anyway, I had to get muscle milk today because they didn't have any chocolate milk. Usually I mix my protein in the chocolate milk. No chocolate milk, so now I got to get the muscle milk.
Anyway,
it's working though. I mean, look at this. Woohoo!
Yeah, I know. We're letting the poll do its thing. It looks like Azamat is dominating right now. Jeff Mickle, it says you joined, but it's not showing. I don't know. Did you click the join button on this video? Because it's automatic, just like when Janet just joined 2 seconds ago. So make sure you click the join button. You'll immediately get a crown, a big alert on the screen, and all the things. So right now, it is 73% of people are saying Azamat Mirzakhanov. Only 27% of the people are saying Tafon and Nchukwi. So we will give this another second. Let these votes finalize. Let's take a look.
I can end the poll. That's funny. I can end it. I can't even vote in it, but I can end it, but I can't start one. It's very weird.
Take a picture and text it to me of what you see. There's no way you can't do a poll.
There used to be an emoji button and then a poll button right next to it.
Scrapping,
right?
I have emoji, $ poll.
Yeah, I have just emoji.
You don't even have $? The $ is for super chat.
I can't even donate. I can't do anything.
Are you logged in? You might not be logged in.
I mean, it says my name and I'm typing.
What
do you mean I'm not logged in?
It makes no sense. Anyway, all right. So this is a clear winner here at 72% for Azamat. Let's just take a look at the live chat. Rob doesn't feel good about this. MN, can Tafon grapple as well as Azamat? No, he cannot. He just can't. He has shown us that he can wrestle, but he cannot wrestle.
Azamat's all power. The guy literally is just all power, and then maybe try to grapple.
Sorry, EO, not working. EO and I have we bet like
I texted you, by the way.
8 fights. I know I can't do everything at the same time, Jacob. Wow. EO and I bet $20 on 8 fights. So you paid up last time. So let's see how this goes. Scrappin', are you a member? If you're a member, you get a crown. That's simple. Click the join button under the video, become a member, you get a crown. Super simple. I can't gift it. YouTube it's not a thing that like YouTube just lets you do. Here we go. Joe Todoro upped his membership. Welcome, Joey. Welcome. 11 months of membership is being celebrated today. Thank you, Joe. True OG.
You're not even going to read it. It's very disrespectful.
If you haven't joined the family yet, what are you waiting on? These good fellas are the best of the best. That is true. And I didn't get that.
And I'm
yet
his
in
favorite. And just make sure, Joe, please let everyone know that I am your favorite.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And if you don't want to join, like the stream. Just like the stream right now. Everyone in the chat, like the stream. I swear to God, if I don't see you liking the stream, you're done. I'm banning everyone.
All right. I'm going to end the poll here. We've got Azamat at 73%, Tafon Nchukwi at 27%. Poll is over. Let's go ahead. We are going to do Azamat Mirzakhanov. I should probably be on the right fight, huh? We will do Azamat Mirzakhanov. Minus 200 favorite. We are adding him to our full card parlay. We're betting $10. Oh, no, 20. We're betting 20. Because I normally do 10, and I forgot. Somebody was entitled to their free $50 last week from us. And he said, you know what? Keep the 50. Just throw it at the full card parlays every week. So now it's $20. And right now it's 20 to win 10 because we did a minus 200 favorite. Let's go ahead. Shkuvagana. Move on to the next fight. And go from there. Jacob, let's do this backwards. You do your breakdown while I put up the poll, and then I'll do mine.
Well, here's my breakdown. Chris.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, just be a human for 11 seconds.
I'm just saying that in this matchup, if you look at their bodies of work, Guido has fought real competition. He has real skills and abilities. Even you mentioned kind of Chris's maybe ability to wrestle. Guido's got good scrambles. He's got good kicks. I think the kicking, especially the leg kicks, are going to be an issue for Chris because against Sugar, it was mostly punches. Obviously, Sugar will throw head kicks and stuff in there, but he doesn't really want to throw leg kicks because he's got those skinny legs. It was a lot of punching, right? In this matchup, I think Guido's going to eat up this dude's legs. He wants to just kind of box in his own right. And listen, the guy, and I saw, it was not a funny comment if you're Chris, but I saw a funny comment in the weigh-ins where I called him, and a lot of people called him in that Sean O'Malley fight. He was just a heavy bag, right? He was basically just there as a heavy bag for Sean to punch on. And somebody called him a light bag instead of a heavy bag because he's a smaller guy. But he's got the red hair now. Maybe that'll affect him. But this is my lock of the week, guys. If you guys haven't missed it, lock of the week, 7-2-1 in the last 10 weeks. This is going to be an 8-2-1. The easiest lock of the week I've ever had. Angela's going to talk about Guido's 40 years old, blah, 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 blah. This is the lock of the week. I mean, this is the easiest pick in the world.
No, I'm not going to talk about that. I think Guido Canetti is absolutely the better fighter, but he's 40 years old, so blah, 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 blah. But no, Guido Canetti, 8-6 overall. He's only 1-4 in his last 5. He's had 3 tough losses in a row. Chris Motino, 9-5 overall, 2-3 in his last 5. He's coming off the absolute destruction by Sean O'Malley. And Guido Canetti, I mentioned he's 1-4 in his last 5, but it's been a rough run. He's over 40. He's lost 3 in a row. He's only fought twice in 2 years, but he did actually look okay in his last fight against Manny Martinez. And Manny Martinez has legit power, so he survived that power and, wasn't necessarily put away. Style-wise, he's a striker. He moves well. He's got nice kicks. He does not have a ton of power, but he makes up for that with volume and movement. Chris Motino, he's coming off that really bad loss to Sean O'Malley. And the only real takeaway you can get from that fight is that he's tough. He was hit 230 times. 177 of those were directly to his face. And he just stood there. Yeah, the fight was stopped, but honestly, if they didn't stop it, he would have just continued to take that beating and survived the rest of the fight. I think it was 30 seconds left or something. He's also a striker. He comes forward, he throws punches. It's that simple. No kicks, doesn't mix it up, just walks forward, throwing punches. He does have wrestling in his back pocket. He wrestled in the Northeast in high school, had some success, but the problem here is he doesn't use it at all, and I mentioned this last time. The dude was fighting Sean O'Malley. He was hit directly in the mouth 177 times, and at no point did he say, maybe I should shoot a takedown and not get hit in the mouth. No point did he do that. Scrappin has become a member. Welcome, Scrappin. Welcome to the club. Thank you very much. Hopefully, we get to pay you out. Last week was the chance, guys. Last week was the chance. Anyway.
Did it really just miss by 1 last week?
Last week, the full card parlay only missed by Tagir. Ulanbekov refusing to shoot. Not only did it only miss by one fight, it was razor thin, and a lot of you were saying you think Tagir should have won that fight.
Which
So
is dumb, but
I watched it. I thought Tagir lost, but frankly, it was razor thin. That last round, he almost had him finished. The second round, he was taken down, but he did, he dropped. Anyway, that
he
was
didn't
last
drop
week.
him. He stung him.
He dropped. Anyway,
Well,
that
he
was
didn't.
that was super, super close. That was a $1,500 payout too, and it came down to freaking Tagir refusing to use offensive wrestling. What a clown. Anyway, I totally get why Guido is your lock of the week. I totally get all of that. Frankly, when I did my breakdown, I took my notes. I was going to pick him, and the only reason I didn't is literally Chris is just so damn tough. So tough that even if Guido is on the right side of most of these exchanges, Chris is just going to be right there throwing stuff back. Guido's the better fighter everywhere. The age actually is a factor for me. So let's see.
But I mean,
what you
somebody
guys-
made a great point. You're scared of the age, right? So let me get on the phone and let me call my friend Glover and
That's
tell
a
him that you
stupid
think
argument
age.
because-
I mean, let me up.
So annoying. Glover didn't lose 3 of his last 4. Glover didn't lose 3 in a row. If he did, which included a knockout, then yeah, I would agree. But that's not what's happened. You
I mean, you're
muppet.
just using age as an excuse. So.
Everybody ages differently, and Guido's not aging as well as Glover or some others.
So let's bet.
We did, didn't we?
Not on this one. You don't want.
Oh yeah, I
Chris. I'll try.
refuse to. I'll bet you. You absolute. I'm in a mood. I'm in a
All right.
mood.
All right, how much we doing?
And if
I got my
lose this
checkbook
bet,
right here.
I'm gonna be in a. I should be in the. My wife took the kids. She's doing a girls' day. She's out of here. I should be in the greatest mood of all time. Instead, I'm.
What are the odds now? I mean,
well, first
this
of all-
poll is close.
Can I add a third option? I should add a third option of do not bet. The poll is close. It's flipping back and forth. Guys, I am not going to add this fight to the full card parlay. There's no reason to. It's a shitty fight.
I mean, it's lock. I mean, literally, it's the lock of the week. You should add Guido to it. It's a lock of the week. It's a lock.
Jacob.
I mean, it's lock of
Let's
the week
do
is
this.
never
Let's
lost.
do this. Let's do this. If
All right, here we go.
I
Some
add Guido,
wild,
your lock of the week,
here we go. Some weird
and
bet.
that's the only fight that makes the parlay miss, you're going to pay people out of your own pocket?
Huh? What?
That was very clear. I'll say it again if you actually didn't hear me. There's 14 fights.
Yeah.
If 13 fights hit, but Guido Canetti loses, and he's the only reason the parlay didn't hit, you're going to pay everybody out? That's what I thought. Honestly, you should say yes. What are the odds of that happening? Now the people know what you are. Well, it didn't take long. So let's see. This is split. Guido Canetti sort of taking over here at 50. I'll just kick you off the stream and be done with it. Guido Canetti is taking over. He's 55%. I don't know if you guys really want me to add this to the full card parlay. I really don't. Let's see.
Oh, Jester said, "Oh, it's a lock. Definitely skipped in." Watch what happens here, Jester.
Don't start putting people in timeout, you clown. All right. Let's leave this alone. We can come back to this fight. It's 55% to 45%. It is razor thin. EO said add it. Tell you what, I'll add Guido Canetti. And if we lose the full card parlay by one single fight and it was Jacob's lock,
I'll write a check. I'll write a check.
Yeah, he'll pay everybody, or I just won't pay him, and I'll give the money that I give to him to
write a
all of
check.
you until his debts are
it's
paid.
very easy.
Okay, good. All right, so anybody who's just tuning in, we are doing a full card parlay. Jacob and I are breaking down fights. We're giving you our picks, our thoughts, but your picks in the voting on YouTube is what is going into the full card parlay that we're building. I'm throwing $20 at it. If the parlay hits, all of that money will go to the members of this channel. So click the join button. Becoming a member does 2 things. 1, it just supports us. It's just supportive and it's nice and we like it. And 2, you qualify for some of these payouts. The likelihood of it hitting is wide, but that's why the payouts are so freaking tremendous.
Well,
Let's
it just
go
got
ahead.
a lot better picking Guido instead of Chris.
Guido Canetti, $20. We've got 2 fights already. We're doubling our money already. Guido Canetti, $20 gets us $46. We're 2 fights in to what will be a 14-fight parlay potentially. And we've got Azamat Murzakanov in the opener and Guido Canetti in the next fight. $20 to win 46. I'm from Connecticut, so I don't get what this means. Jacob's not from Connecticut. Jacob's from, just look at his teeth. Show him your teeth. They'll know where you're from. So, I don't know why I always joke that your teeth are a mess. They're actually
I don't know,
much
because
nicer than
I
mine.
literally have like the nicest teeth anyway.
They're much nicer than mine.
Teeth.
Anyway, all right, let's continue moving on. The final for Guido Canetti and Chris Motino was 56% of you think Guido Canetti's going to win. And I'll be rooting for him, honestly. Chris Motino's, I guess he earned his slot with the beating he took, but let's see what happens. And we will move on to the next fight. Jakey boy, why don't you go ahead and break us down Dalcha Lungiambula versus Cody Brundage while I build the poll.
The first thing I want to say is I watched the weigh-ins, and then after the weigh-ins, they always have face-offs, right? And that's where you can really see these guys, see how they stack up, how they look, the guys and girls, height, how thick they are, what they look like. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm thinking about putting all my money in the world on Dalcha because I have never seen someone looked as scared and as terrified in their eyes than I saw Cody look in that face-off versus Dalcha. Dalcha leaned in, got right in his face, and instead of like getting right there with them, Cody was like kind of head back, like kind of looking at him like, what the hell is this guy gonna do? I was gonna pick Dalcha before. He was my pick. He is the favorite in this fight. Cody's got wrestling background. I think he was a college wrestler, but Dalcha is also a good grappler in his own right. It's going to be interesting to see. The biggest question mark for this fight is if Cody is going to get Dalcha on his back, how does he handle that, right? Because you've seen Dalcha use his own wrestling and get people, and he has very good top pressure. But on his back, there's some question marks there about whether he can get out of positions, whether he runs out of gas trying to get out of those positions. In my mind, I don't think he even ends up in those positions. I think Cody comes out a little hesitant. Dalcha's able to blitz forward. When he blitzes forward, he throws 4 or 5 strike combos that are all power, and then he doesn't do anything for about 2 minutes. So it's boom, 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 and then he's just kind of just waiting. He's probably just going to be waiting for Cody's shot. It's going to be a lame shot. He's not going to be able to get him to the ground. I like Dalcha this fight. He's a 185er now. He used to be a 2-time champion in another promotion, a heavyweight champion and a light heavyweight champion at the same time. The guy is talented. He's got real power, and he's got real abilities on the ground as well that people don't forget about. So Cody, he's going to come in. He's going to be a little showboaty, hands down, because that's kind of what he does. But I'm Dalcha all the way in this fight.
Yeah, I mean, this entire card, I've been warning everybody as much as I can. This is not a card. Listen, everybody in the live stream, we appreciate the support. We love that you're watching. There's over 100 of you right now. Thank you. Don't spend your money on this card. Just don't do it. You don't need to bet every single week. We do. We literally do for the sake of the channel and growing the audience, but you don't. You might want to take a week off.
I do it to pay my mortgage.
Well, and that explains why you just have posters tacked up on the back wall in your bedroom. So
This is a penthouse apartment.
Uh-huh. You're supposed to say that's not your bedroom. Anyway. This is not, every one of these fights could honestly go either way, and there's so many question marks, but this is an interesting fight. I'm on the opposite side of Jacob. Jacob likes Dalcha here. I like Cody Brundage. Cody Brundage is coming off that loss to Nick Maximov. Keep in mind, he took that on short notice, and it was his official UFC debut. He was out-wrestled, but as Jacob said, Cody Brundage has a college wrestling background. He's got decent chain wrestling. He throws big, heavy punches. He had a rough run in the UFC so far. He had that loss to William Knight on the Contender Series where he was pretty much dominating that fight and then just was in on a shot and just got elbowed in the side of the head over and over until that was the end of that. But he does use his wrestling well. He's always pushing forward. His striking is big, heavy shots used to set up his wrestling. But because they're so big and they're so heavy, people do tend to react. Dalcha Lungiambula, he's short for the division, but he's jacked. He's fast. He's powerful. He comes forward with good pressure and all of that power. He can grapple when he needs to. We saw his grappling in his last fight where he had 2 takedowns against Marc-Andre Barreau. And in his UFC debut against Daquan Townsend, where he had 4 takedowns before eventually knocking him out. I do think this is a tough fight. I think this is razor thin, and each one of these guys has a very clear path to victory We've got Dalcha, keep it standing. We've got Cody, get it to the ground. Either one of those guys has a clear path. I think the fight is basically a pick'em, but whoever wins is going to look like a giant favorite, right? If Cody just takes Dalcha down, makes him look uncomfortable, rides him out, Cody's going to look like he should have been a 300 favorite. If Dalcha keeps it standing, he's just going to, it's going to be. So this is one of those ones where people, Jacob and I are split on this. So no matter what, people will come to the comment sections trashing it because whoever wins is going to dominate.
Nobody uses that tone on me. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
I'll tell you too, my confidence picks, because I'm doing confidence picks this week. I had Guido as a 7. Remember, this is 14 is the most, 1 is the least confident. This one I have Dalcha, and I put him at a 10 after face-off, so I think he's gonna run through this kid.
Yeah, I mean, whoever wins is going to look very good, right? Like I don't think this is a close war. I think it's a one-sided beating, one way or the other. And yeah, I favor wrestlers, and I'll tell you why I favor wrestlers. 2 things. 1, I've wrestled my entire life. 2, wrestlers can dictate where the fight goes. And that's arguably the most important thing about a fight. If I'm a wrestler and I want to keep it on my feet, I can keep it on my feet. Go look at Chuck Liddell and what he did with his wrestling. If he didn't have wrestling, he would have sucked. If I'm a wrestler and my striking sucks, but I can get it to the ground and work from there, then I can do that. And I'm going to say, look at Khabib.
That's why every single wrestler is undefeated. You nailed it, Angelo. They're all undefeated.
Look at Khabib. His wrestling is not the most, his striking isn't that awful, but the wrestling is what gets it done for him because he could dictate where it goes. So I always will favor wrestlers in close matchups as long as there's a clear path to victory because they can dictate where the fight goes. It's literally that simple. When Dalcha starts throwing bombs, Cody is not going to like it. You're 100% correct. And he's going to start diving. So this is pretty clear. You guys are very big on Dalcha here. So Dalcha, 70% of the votes. Cody Brundage, only 20. And 10% of you said, don't add this fight to the parlay. So we're going to add Dalcha because the overwhelming majority said that. So if you guys are just tuning in and you don't know what we're doing, we're building a full card parlay with your picks from the live chat, from the voting in YouTube. Let's go ahead and add Dalcha Lungiambula at minus 135. Dude, the payout this week's going to be freaking big because all of these fights are close. So last week, the payout was 1,500, but
they missed the first fight, so it doesn't really matter. But
last week, the payout was 1,500, and that was with like minus 800 favorites in there. 2 of them. So this week,
it's going to be 10 grand.
It's good. I mean, we're already at $100. We're 3 fights in. And anybody who's watched us do this before, it quickly escalates. So anyway, we're 3 fights in. If you want your crack at this payout, click the join button on the video, become a member. It's supportive. And you qualify for the payouts. We've got Azamat, Mirzakhanov, Guido, Canetti, and Dalcha Lungiambula. 20 wins us 94. We are 3 fights in to our full card parlay. Let me end this poll. And let's move on to the next one, Jakey. And if you guys want $50, I talk about it all the time. And it's a sales pitch, and it's what keeps the lights on here. If you want $50, go to wewantpicks.com/bets. Sign up with any one of our 5 betting partners. Make a deposit. Let me know when you do, and I pay you $50. Ever since we revamped our website, you guys have been taking advantage of that like crazy, and we've been paying people out ridiculous amounts of money. So, wewantpicks.com/bets. Jakey boy, why don't you go ahead and give us your thoughts about Sabine Mazo versus Miranda Maverick while I add the poll to the live chat.
Yeah, I will say, first of all, Sabine Mazo, I was speaking about the face-offs with the Tafon fight, or the Dalcha fight. This face-off, I didn't realize Sabine, she's got to be 6'7", 6'8", 6'9". She's got to be just unbelievably tall. So you look at the face-offs, and it's like, holy shit. But I think that's going to work in Miranda's favor. She's going to be able to get up on those legs. I don't think she tries to deal with the striking at all. If she wants to win the striking, I think she can win the striking. But I think she can just dominate on the ground. I think that's where she takes Sabine. Sabine's a little slow-footed, a little slow in her striking. I think this matchup was to get Miranda back on track. She lost that bullshit split decision versus Macy Barber. She won that fight. And then her last fight was just flat out embarrassed. And if you watch Miranda and the way that she trains and the way that she acts, she is not somebody that enjoys being embarrassed because she was completely embarrassed. Their corner was all over her. She is going to come out and prove a point and show why the hell she is Miranda Maverick. She's not a 9-4 fighter. She is somebody that is going to challenge for the title one day. I truly believe that, and she should absolutely dominate this fight. And my confidence picks at a 14, I have her as a 13. I think she's one of the biggest locks on the card this week. She should absolutely dominate. I don't see anywhere where Sabine can beat Miranda. Not on the feet. Maybe like a weird, like one of those long-ass legs coming with a head kick, but she's just so slow. Miranda should dominate this fight wherever she wants to.
Yeah, I pretty much
She's
agree
tough.
with that.
She's tough, though. Sabine is tough. But
She's tough. She's long. She's rangy. She is a skilled fighter. But I agree. This should be Miranda Maverick's win. If Miranda Maverick does not win this fight, then I would say she's a busted prospect at this point, right? So she is.
Yeah,
she does have. She does have a couple of losses in the mix. She lost to Macy Barber, but that was nonsense. She won that fight. I mean, that was a pretty bad decision. And then she lost to Erin Blanchfield. That was a very genuine loss. But I don't think it took anything away from Miranda Maverick. I think it just showed how good Erin Blanchfield actually is because she out-grappled her, she held her down, and Miranda avoided every single submission, never said no, and just kept trying to work her way up. So, not that she didn't gain much from that loss. It's not like it's one of those losses where you're like, wow, you're better than I thought, because a lot of people thought Miranda was going to win that fight, including me. But it wasn't, it wasn't an absolute beating. So we got Sabine Mazo, 9-3 overall. She's 3-2 in her last 5, and she's coming off a submission loss to Maria Agapova, which all of a sudden doesn't look so good after last week. Miranda Maverick, 9-4 overall. As I mentioned, there's a bad decision in there, so should be 10-3 overall. She's 3-2 in her last 5, and she's coming off that loss to Erin Blanchfield that I just talked about. Sabine Mazo is a striker. She's a kickboxer who has great kicks. She's got big, heavy kicks. I mentioned this last time, but some people like to call her Lady Crow Cop because of how powerful those kicks are. She does not have power in her hands, though. It's all in her legs, and she likes to fight at range and control the distance, and I think that's what she needs to do here. She needs to stay on the outside and not let Miranda Maverick work her way inside the distance, because then she's going to worry about takedowns and getting bullied. So she's going to have to use that reach to keep Miranda away. And Miranda Maverick is a technical striker. She's got solid forward pressure. She's got good takedowns. She's very strong, and she uses her strength well. She averages a little more than 1 takedown per fight with a 66% takedown accuracy and pretty good takedown defense despite the numbers. Her takedown defense percentage took a real hit in that last fight against Erin Blanchfield. But both of these women are coming off 2 losses in a row, but they're very different losses. I mentioned Miranda Maverick, the Erin Blanchfield loss was genuine, but the loss to Macy Barber was nonsense. She won that fight. And then if you look at Sabine Mazo's losses, she lost to Alexis Davis, which is a good loss. Alexis is very good. And she lost to Maria Agapova, which was kind of, she was pretty exposed.
no such thing as a good loss. Loss.
She was okay. She was pretty exposed last week, so that loss isn't holding up as well. And we've seen Sabina get outstruck. We've seen her get outgrappled. And I think Miranda Maverick will probably do both. She just needs to work her way past those kicks, past the punches, get inside the pocket there, and start bullying. And the live chat, the voting in the live chat is an overwhelming 76% for Miranda Maverick. A surprising 11% of you are saying, don't add this to the full card parlay, which this is, to me, this is like a tent pole for the, this is one of the very few fights on this card where it's,
that's a King of Queens thing. Remember that episode? Tent pole episode?
No, I don't. Okay. This is one of the few fights on this card that I'm extremely confident in. So we're going to add Miranda Maverick to the full card parlay. But before I do, let's just take a look at some of the live chat here. Miranda's fight IQ is scary. Hey, Wayne, give us an example of when Miranda made poor fight IQ decisions. And don't say getting taken down by Erin Blanchfield, because that wasn't her decision. Well, it's not poor fight IQ if somebody's able to do something.
No, I get it. It was just funny the way it was just funny the way it was worded. That was not her decision. There was literally nothing she could do about that.
She tried her best.
I mean, she really did too. I think she even tried to offensive wrestle too, and just got swept and reversed. And Not a good situation.
O'Brien Ortega, I never bet on women's fights. I totally understand where you're coming from, but I personally, I've had more success.
I think those are the easiest
betting on-
ones to read. Yeah, I think those are the easiest ones to read.
I've had the most amount of success in women's fights because
the skill gap in women's fights is like extreme.
So
where guys are pretty like because the sports hasn't been around that as long for women, right? So the people that started off are really up here, and the other one.
Well, and yeah, I agree. There's definitely much wider skill gaps in those divisions, but the odds makers are wrong all the time on women fights, all the time. So you can find some nice spots there, but I totally get because part of the perception of I never bet on women's fights, part of that perception comes from I'm sure you've been on the wrong side of some big favorites getting their clocks cleaned, and that is what happens if you know what you're looking at. Then you should know what you're looking at. Anyone saying that Miranda Maverick shouldn't be added to the parlay obviously wants you to lose money. That's the only fight of this card that I'm pretty sure is going to... Listen, I completely agree. And the reality is these are fist fights. Anything can happen. And every single week, we have people that love to come back on Sundays and make their stupid little comments like, oh, I told you this was going to happen. And then my response every time is, okay, list every single pick for next week. We'll compare yours and mine, and then we'll see who's more correct. It is fist fight. Miranda Maverick could absolutely lose this fight. That's the beauty of the sport. That's why we love it so much. It would be no fun if every favorite won every week. But I do think on this card, with these matchups, Miranda Maverick is as close to a lock as you're going to get. So let's lock her in. We're building a full card parlay, all 140 of you watching. We are building a full card parlay. We're adding the picks from the YouTube live chat to the parlay. And if it hits, we're going to pay out the members of this channel. So click the join button under the video. Become a member, not just for the payout, but to support us and get a fancy crown and the use of those pretty little emojis. Let's go ahead. I said pretty little emojis. My daughters are not home, and I'm just vibing for them. $20 on the parlay. $20 gets us 130. We are very early on. We only have 4 fights. I promise you this will end up being probably a $2,000 to $3,000 payout.
10 grand.
I bet it's actually, and I'm sure we're going to get Terrence McKinney in here. This may be a $3,000 $4,000 payout. Let's find out. We've got Azamat Murzakanov, Guido Canetti, Dalcha Lungiambula, and Miranda Maverick in our full card parlay. $20 right now is getting us $127. Become a member if you want your crack at this. And you have to subscribe and join. First, be a subscriber because you enjoy the content and that costs nothing and it's free. Then join so that you are an actual member and can get the payout. And hello, Black Falcon. Let's see. Let's jump right back in. Jacob Boy, while I put up the poll, why don't you break down Damon Jackson versus Kamuela Kirk for us?
Yeah, your new best friend, Damon Jackson. Angela's been chatting it up on Twitter with Damon Jackson this week.
He watched our video. Hold on.
Yeah,
every video we do, we don't hide. There's no curtain here. We're not hiding behind anything. Any video we do, we talk about fighters. I tweet the video. I tag the fighters in it. And Damon Jackson watched the video, responded, and said, I'm going to give it my all. So I'm Camp Damon. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it sounded like it was like, I'm going to give it my all. Like, I'm going to go out there and try my hardest, guys. Like, don't be surprised if I lose, but, I'm going to really try and try my hardest. That's honestly, it was like, it wasn't like, I'm going to give it my all, exclamation point. It was like, I'm going to try my hardest, guys. And honestly, I think that's how that fight's going to go. There was one person that kind of caught my eye at weigh-ins, and that was Damon Jackson. His mannerism, stepping on the scale, stepping off the scale, the way he was just kind of posing, it almost looked like he didn't even want to be there. It was very weird the way he was acting on the scale. I'm sure weight cuts affect people differently. I'm sure he was super drained out, and that's how it affects you when you get drained out. But I think I mentioned our breakdown. I think this is Kurt's fight to lose, and the way he loses this fight is if he tries to grapple, because he is a very good grappler in his own right. I think he's a black belt. He's not a wrestler, where Damon Jackson is a wrestler. So if Kurt is trying to grapple in this matchup, he's going to find himself probably in his guard and just getting elbowed in the face and maybe getting his back taken and then submitted. If you're Kirk, you just got to keep this on the feet, man. You just got to, don't try to do anything weird when Jackson's taking shots. Don't try to win. Don't try to like pull a guillotine. Don't think you're slick with it because Jackson is probably going to win the scramble. If you're Kirk, win the scrambles, get back to your feet, get your distance back, and just win the fight that way. Do not try to do anything on the ground. You might think that you're better than Jackson, and maybe you are. Maybe Kirk does win a scramble and he's able to submit him or whatever, but Jackson's called the leech for a reason. He's very slick. He doesn't do normal stuff on the ground. And if you go to the ground with him, that's his best opportunity to win. So don't even deal with that. Just stay on your feet, defend the takedowns, get them off of you, and then win the fight. So I'm Kurt on this, but you got to win the scrambles, and you cannot pull guard. You can't pull a guillotine. You can't do stupid stuff like that. Damon Jackson's going to be shooting for your legs the entire fight, and keep it standing, and you're going to win. My pick is Kurt, and I think let me see my confidence pick on this one, because I like Kurt a lot in this matchup. Never mind. I have him at a 4. So at a 14, I have him at a 4 on this. But I mean, that's just because Jackson, if he gets you to the ground, I mean, you're probably not going to go anywhere. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going Kurt on this one.
And I'm on the opposite side. I'm all over Damon Jackson here, and I say all over. This is a close fight, but Damon Jackson, 19-4 overall. He's 3-2 in his last 5. He's coming off that bloody war, which was a win over Charles Rosa. Kamuela Kirk, 11-4 overall. He's also 3-2 in his last 5, but he's riding a 3-fight win streak. Damon Jackson, you mentioned he's a very good grappler, but also a very good wrestler. And his grappling is opportunistic, meaning he'll snatch things up in scrambles instead of just methodically working through positions. He is willing to slug it out on his feet. That can be an asset for him, but it just depends on who the fighter is, right? If he's slugging it out and, getting those better of those exchanges, great. But if he's slugging it out against somebody that can also wrestle, they'll probably shoot it on him, and it can be a problem. Kamuela Kirk is a grappler. He has decent takedowns, but he does tend to fade later in the fight. He'll get sucked into kickboxing matches where his offense is pretty technical, but he's very hittable. He keeps his hands super low. When he's striking, he does a decent job of managing range and throwing out clean 1-2s, but his lack of volume and his willingness to just back up in fights can be a problem for him. Both of these guys have upside down striking differential, so both of them are hit way more than they hit their opponents. And that's always surprising when you get grapplers because logically they should be on top, not getting hit. So how are they getting hit? More than they're hitting the other person when they're the ones with takedowns and control time. But both of these guys have managed to pull that off. I think if Damon sticks to a grapple-heavy game plan, just shoot, wrestle, I think he beats Kamuela Kirk. Absolutely. If he plays a striking game, I think Kamuela's probably the better striker. He's got lower volume, but I think he'll pick his shots a little better. So I like Damon here. I think he'd have the same success that Amir Khani had. Amir Khani took down Kamuela Kirk 5 times. 5 times. And Amir Khani doesn't wrestle as much as he should. So I think Damon Jackson can just piggyback off of Amir Khani's success, get the takedowns, ride out Kamuela Kirk. But let's see what you guys are voting. Kamuela Kirk, 44% of you are saying Kamuela Kirk. And Greg Yothers, what'd you say here, buddy? After that war with Rosa, I'm riding with Jackson. I'm not going to bet, but my opinion is Jackson can win. He just needs to stick to his game plan. I completely agree. And what's awesome about that win over Charles Rosa is a way better pure grappler than Kamuela Kirk is. Way better. And Damon Jackson was not really in any danger in that fight. So as long as he doesn't strike, the problem is Kamuela Kirk's a better striker than Charles Rosa. But as long as he's not trying to do a kickboxing match and just comes out here, wrestle, grapple, I like Damon Jackson here. So the voting as it sits, 36% Damon Jackson, 42% Kamuela, 22% saying don't add this to the parlay. We'll give this another minute. We probably have to come up with some rule here where if we don't even have 50% on one fighter, it should not be, you know what I mean? Then we shouldn't add it to the parlay. Not even half the people want him in there.
It's your decision. I will say too, Damon is an opportunistic. What? Am I here? Hello? What the hell is going on?
There we go.
What the hell is going on here?
I literally, like my screen was just
I still can't even see you. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't even see you. It's
let me
on the
take
stream. Oh, there we go.
Oh, then put myself back.
oh.
Okay. I mean, the software we used must have just tweaked. Anyway, that was so weird. That's never
I still
happened.
can't. I can see you on the stream, but I can't see you on the on
Behind the
my
scenes
browser.
Well,
It's
that
very
is
weird.
what it is. That is what it is.
Anyway, I was going to say Damon Jackson is an opportunistic wrestler in the fact that he's one of those guys that will try to catch kicks too. So if you're Kirk, you got to limit the kicks that you throw because he will catch one of those kicks and take you down for sure. So it's weird. I can't see you. This is very frustrating.
Well, you're just gonna have to deal with it because I can see you, and I'm not. I'm not messing with anything. I don't know what the hell just happened. So listen, the votes right now are 40%.
Try and join back.
You can leave and come back if you want. All right, try it if it's that frustrating. And we lost Jacob. The votes now, 38% Damon Jackson, 38% Kamuela Kirk, 23% don't add this to the parlay. So we're not going to add this to the parlay. All right, guys, just relax. I'm not going to add it. We'll add this clown back on. See me
Hey,
now,
bud.
Doofus? Okay.
Hey, how you doing, bud?
We're not adding this fight to the full card parlay. Anybody watching, all 166 of you.
Wow,
Anybody...
when you ended it was 38-38. You see that?
I know. That was dead even the whole time. We'll just have to do that rule. If we don't get 50%.
Well, you know what's funny? You know what's funny is I was monitoring because I went first and I'm Kirk, so I talked and it was like at 75% Kirk,
and then
you started talking.
Yeah.
And started...
That is funny. So we're not going to add them to the full card parlay. Neither one of these guys are going to make the parlay. But can we take a look at the full card parlay now? We've got Azamat, Mirzakhanov, Guido Canetti, Dalcha Lungiambula, and Miranda Maverick. We have skipped the last fight, Kamuela Kirk.
I think this is one of those where you does not go the distance. I mean, what are the odds on that? Isn't that pretty good distance? Let me see.
We'll just
does not go the distance. I guess it's supposed to go the distance. The odds say, which is kind of crazy to me. I might take that bet. Do I already have that bet?
I can see it going the distance. But
I already have that bet.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Good job. Okay, so we're building a full card parlay. We're taking your picks from the live chat, building out the parlay. If the parlay hits, we're going to pay the members of this channel. Become a member, not just for the potential payout, because, listen, it'll hit eventually, but it may be a little while. Become a member just to support us if you're enjoying the content. We are going to continue moving this train on. We did not add the last fight. And that takes us to Trevin Jones versus Javid Basharat. Jacob boy, break this down so I could add the poll to the live chat.
Yeah, no problem. Trevin Jones, I'm a big fan of this guy. I think I've picked him in like every single fight that we've done this. In DraftKings, he's always in my lineups. I'm a big Trevin Jones fan. I mentioned in our breakdown, I think he is the best 13-7 fighter you'll ever see in your life. I mean, he is fantastic everywhere. I think he's a world grappling champion. He's good on the feet. He's got real power. But I think that his grappling is going to be his downfall in this matchup because I think he's going to use his grappling. And if you watch Javid Basharat, whatever his name is, in the fights that I watch, and it's against different competition, I understand that, but I have never seen this guy lose a scramble. If somebody shoots at him, if he's shooting, if there's a scramble, he just always ends up on top. And when he ends up on top, this dude is nasty with this ground and pound. Some people work for positions to get submissions. They'll kind of control positions. The second this guy is in your guard, or if he gets half guard, if Trevin Jones is in half guard in this situation, he is going to be eating elbows until the ref stops the fight. Javid is just one of those guys that once he gets you on the ground, he gets you flat on your back, and he just starts raining down hell onto your forehead and onto your eyebrow. So I like Trevin Jones. If people are going to pick Trevin Jones in this fight, I understand it. He is very, very skilled everywhere. He has experience. He can win this fight if it stays on the feet. If Trevin Jones comes across and just knocks this dude out, I wouldn't be surprised. But I see Javid coming in, using his own offensive wrestling versus Trevin, controlling positions, and that ground and pound is nasty. So this is kind of the same situation as Kirk, right? If you're Trevin, you got to do everything you can not to end up on your back, just like Kurt that last fight versus Damon Jackson. Javid's going to come in. He's going to try to wrestle you. Keep it on the feet as much as you can. You can win this fight. But if you end up on your back with this guy, it is bad bad news. So my pick is Javid. I'm a big Trevin Jones guy. If he wins, I'll be rooting for him, but I got to go Javid in this matchup.
Yeah, I'm on Javid as well. Make sure you guys vote in the live chat so we can see who we're going to add to our full card parlay. But I do like Javid here because, you know, frankly, he's been pretty dominant so far in his career, and I understand he hasn't fought the same level of competition just yet. But I'm also very anti-contender series fade. That whole narrative drives me absolutely freaking nuts. But Trevin Jones,
a contender series guy.
Yeah, you change your pick.
I like Trevin Jones 100. I'm just kidding. I like Javid, and I put him at my confidence pick on Javid is only a 3. So I like Trevin Jones, but Javid should win. Javid.
Well, Trevin Jones 13-7 overall, 3-1-1 in his last 5. He's coming off the submission loss to Kakramanov in August. Javid Basharat 11-0. He's 5-0 in his last 5, and he had that awesome contender series win. Trevin Jones, he's a fun striker. He's got a ton of power. He throws everything with 100% and bad intentions. He's not the most technical striker, but he does not need to be because he has a jiu-jitsu black belt. He fell in love with his striking, which we've seen that happen before, right? You get good grapplers that just have some success striking, then they just stop grappling. But look at Trevin Jones's significant strikes here. Lands 2.22, gets hit 4.49 times. That's upside down for a striker as dangerous as Trevin Jones, for sure. But Javid Basharat, he's a grappler, and he has offensive and defensive wrestling. And he looks fantastic on both sides of that. He has absolutely no problems with a kickboxing match either, and he can be a problem in this division. If you watch his fight against Bezkaravani, he was actually winning the kickboxing, and he used his constant movement to stay out of danger, and then he just lunges in with his own strikes. He did win that fight by submission, and he didn't even need to shoot a takedown to get it. He used his defensive wrestling to get it down to the ground, and then from there he reversed the position, ended up on top. Javid Basharat, I'm all over it. It's another spot. We talked about it. A bunch of people are going to be screaming contender series fade. I hate that narrative. I think it's just so close-minded to fade. You'd rather fade somebody who has a win in literally the exact same room that they're about to fight in than fade, somebody coming off 2 losses? That whole contender series fade thing is so stupid to me. I don't know who started that, but it's just so dumb. If anything,
successful,
I would say,
but dumb.
I would say that some of these contender series guys, depending how it went and when they fought, might have a little bit of an advantage because it's in the same building, in the same cage. Like it's a very familiar environment. Anyway, I like Javid. Let's see what the live chat says. And the live chat is all over Javid as well. 70.
Overwhelming.
70.
I knew you guys. Angelo talks about how dumb you guys are. I knew you guys were smart.
I think everybody's stupid, to be honest with you. Not in the live chat. But there's a lot of stupid people in this world. Anyway, 70.
Not me either, right?
No, absolutely not. No, definitely not.
Definitely
not. Which is why you're doing the polls and you do the graphics and all the things because you're just so smart and capable. I trust you to do all that stuff. Pretty obvious. Javid is getting added to the full card parlay. And let's do it. And everybody who is watching and just tuning in now, we're building a full card parlay. And we're doing it with your picks from the live chat. If it hits, all the money is going to go to members of this channel. Click the join button, become a member. It qualifies you for all of our payouts. But more importantly, it supports us. And we need support. We're out here doing the Lord's work, looking for a little support. So we are going to add, we skipped Kamuela, Kirk, and Damon Jackson. So we're going to add our buddy, Javid Basharat, and that takes this payout to $219. So we're already more than 10 timesing, we're 20 timesing our money essentially, 11 timesing our money right now. And we are only a few fights in. We've got Azamat, Mirzakhanov, Guido, Canetti, Dalcha, Lungiambula, Miranda Maverick, and Javid Basharat. If this seems like a low payout, I promise you, in a few fights, this will be over 1,000. A few fights after that, and we'll be well over that number. Anybody who wants in, make sure you're voting in the live chat, and we will add the winner to our full card parlay. And then next up, we have another female fight. We've got JJ Aldrich taking on Jillian Robertson. This is a pretty interesting fight. What do you think, Jacob, while I build the parlay?
Yeah, this is one of those fights that I think the odds have even gotten closer. If I look right here, I'm looking at Jillian at -120, so they're tightening up a little bit, and honestly, they should. I'm on the Jillian side of this, but this is like, let me look at my confidence picks here, because this is, I have her at a 9 because I think that she does have the better wrestling. I think she's got the better stand-up as well, but I kind of wish that she was the underdog. She was the one, every time I want to place a bet, I go to Jillian and I just look at it and I look at it and I stare at it and I'm just like, I just can't do it. So I think that she wins. I think she's got the wrestling to be able to do it. I think on the feet, she probably is the more technical strike on the feet, but both these girls want to wrestle, and it's whoever is able to get the positions. I mean, whoever wins the scrambles. I feel like a broken record. A lot of these matchups they're so close that it's whoever wins the positions. That seems like it's oversimplifying things, but that really is all it comes down to. Both these girls are going to try to offensive wrestle. Who can get the other one on the back, and who is going to stay in those positions? Unfortunately, in this matchup, if JJ is able to get Jillian on her back, I think that Jillian is going to stay in that position and try to work submissions from there a little bit more than if JJ's on her back. But the difference is if JJ's on her back, I think Jillian can control her there. Both these girls can control either one of them. It's such a close fight, man. I just like Jillian a little bit better in the wrestling. I like her offensive wrestling a little bit better. And if this is one of those matchups where it's two grapplers and they want to strike because they both don't want to grapple, I like Jillian in the striking as well. So I understand why she's a favorite. I also understand why the odds are tightening up. I wish that she was the underdog so I could put money on her. Even at -120, I don't feel confident. I was going to put her like in a parlay too, but I'm just staying away from this fight completely. Even when we were breaking this down, I was just going to pick opposite of you, just to pick opposite, because I had no idea in this fight. JJ could dominate, Jillian could dominate. My pick is Jillian.
Yeah, I'm a little more confident. I'm a little more confident in Jillian. I think Jillian wins, and I think these odds here are pretty spot on. I think she's a -150 favorite, so a decent-sized favorite, not quite 2-1, but definitely a favorite here. We got JJ Aldrich, 10-4 overall. She's 3-2 in her last 5, and she's coming off that win over Vanessa Demopoulos 5 months ago. Jillian Robertson, 10-6 overall. She's 3-2 in her last 5, coming off a submission win just a couple of months ago. And JJ's a decision machine. Wins and losses. They're basically all decisions. She's a decent striker with good takedowns and good top pressure. She fights well within her skill set, meaning she doesn't really take any risks. She's not going to come rushing in. She's not going to do anything that's sort of out of character for her. You know what you'll get with JJ Aldrich. And she was able to bully the much smaller Demopoulos in her last fight, but I definitely don't think she's going to be able to bully Jillian Robertson. Jillian Robertson, she's well-rounded, but primarily a wrestler. She bounced back after a 2-fight skid, but she has not had an easy road in the UFC with her 3 most recent losses to Miranda Maverick, Tyler Santos, and Macy Barber. Jillian averages almost 3 takedowns per fight, and I think that's really important here because if you look at who JJ has fought, it's not a lot of people looking to take her down. It's not a lot of people that are just trying to get in her face and grind her out. So I think this is a different look for her. I think she's going to have a problem with it. I think Jillian Robertson wins this fight, and I think -150 are appropriate odds. Let's see what you guys think. Ooh, we've got 31% JJ Aldrich, 49% Jillian Robertson, and 21% of you are saying don't add this. We're probably going to add Jillian Robertson, 49%. We're almost at that 50% mark. Oh, and it's officially at 50%. We'll give it another minute, let the votes come in, and we will add whoever wins the poll to our full card parlay. And if the parlay hits, the money goes to the members of this channel. So click the join button, become a member. At the very least, it's supportive, and you get a fancy little crown.
You guys are voting to skip it. If you keep skipping every single fight, scared
well,
money don't
Jillian
make
Robertson's
money.
at 51% now. So she'll
Scared
end up
money
in the
don't
parlay
make money.
unless something dramatic happens. Let's see. And you got a couple people arguing over the previous fight in here. Who's a contender series? Are you a contender series fade guy, Chris? Ugh, brutal.
No, because Donnie said something. He said, rising contender without a single UFC fight. Laugh out loud. You're smoking rocks. Dude hasn't even been tested. How is he a contender?
Well, next week for UFC London, which I'll release that video later today, the UFC London, there's a guy on there with 5 fights that might be the most hyped prospect ever. He only has 5 fights, and people are already talking about he's the future of this sport. So you can absolutely
Who's that?
Well, you're gonna have to watch the breakdown. First of all,
Oh my god.
you haven't
Jesus
started your
Christ.
research for next week yet?
I don't do any research.
Absolute clown shoe you are. Absolute
I don't
clown
do any
shoe.
research.
But that is for next week. But his name is Muhammad Makayev. He's fighting Cody Durden. But that's next week.
Durden? What kind of name
Yep.
is Durden?
Okay. All right. Well, we're at 53% late rally for Jillian Robertson. Let's go ahead and add her to our full card parloots. And it's really, obviously, I know the word is parlay. I say parloots. Here's a little peep into my life.
Oh, did we count this bet? We've got a bet for Ryan Hall by Jester. Let's get a promotion going here.
Okay. I say loots. So my whole family's from Italy. I'm first
Loots?
generation. I'm first generation American.
Like Quaaludes?
And my grandmother would call me Angeloots. So in Italian, you just add loots to the end of stuff, and it means like, cute. So for some reason, I've just said loots to the end of
do you
random
have
shit.
do you have another 30 seconds to tell that story again? Because that's one of the best stories I've ever heard.
Yeah, so I'm not from farmland bullshit podunk like you are. I'm from a part of the country where there's like a diverse set of people, and they took boats to get there, and lots of immigrants. So my family has come from another country, so I'm very diverse culturally. I've seen a lot of things. I don't just eat chicken nuggets for dinner like you do, and because of that, sometimes I say stuff that's not necessarily normal.
Question.
Yeah, yes, the corn boy in the back. Yes,
Why do you hate America?
I'm a U.S. citizen. My mom actually just became a citizen 2 years ago. So good for her.
Congratulations.
She didn't have to do it. She was green card, which means she could stay forever. Still became a citizen. Didn't have to do it. Just loved this country that much. We've added Jillian Robertson to the full card parlay. The payout just doubled. One fight doubled it. We're now at $418, and this is when it really starts rolling. $418 on a $20 bet. The money goes to the members of the channel. Click the join button. That's my sales pitch for that. And we have Azamat Mirzakhanov, Guido Canetti, Dalcha Lungiambula, Miranda Maverick, Javid Basharat, and Jillian Robertson rounding out our parlay so far. Let's go ahead and move on to the next fight. We have Matt Semelsberger taking on AJ Fletcher. Jacob, I'll let you go first while I build the poll here, but everybody needs to know Jacob and I are very split on this fight. So go ahead, Jake, spew your hate.
It's no hate. It's just it literally
Hold on.
is just.
Hold on. He's not Italian. Guido Canetti is like Spanish.
No,
Sorry,
he's.
go ahead.
I think he's from Argentina, maybe. Not Argentina. It's
So he's Hispanic, yeah.
Yeah. So, if you're just looking at these guys, you're looking at Semelsberger's face. He just looks mean. He looks tough. He's got the grizzly beard. I mean, this dude just looks like he just knocks people out, and that's exactly what he does. I mean, he's got 2 first-round knockouts in the last 3 fights. People are gonna say it's not against great competition, but that's exactly what you do against not good competition, right? He can't control. I guess he can kind of control who he fights, but the UFC said fight this guy. He said okay, and he just lays him out. I mean, that's what you do against not good competition. He didn't struggle with those guys. So when you say not good competition, he did what he was supposed to do. Then you transition, you look at AJ, you look at this guy. I mean, there was a picture floating around on Twitter. The dude's got like T-Rex arms. I mean, he's jacked out of his mind, but people are like, why does he look so weird? I'm focused on the face here. And this dude, I mentioned in our breakdown, it's no disrespect. It's off a video that's kind of funny. He just got like a dumb little face to me that he just looks like he's going to get knocked out. If there was ever a guy... And you can watch the face-offs. It's not even just this picture. It's just kind of him in general. And this is no disrespect to AJ. If me and AJ Fletcher fought, it'd be competitive, but he would probably win. This just looks like it's just going to get knocked out. He's got wrestling. He throws bombs, but this is Semelsberger, man. And this is what he does. And Angela's going to disagree with me. And I have nothing really to back that up except for I just think he's just going to get knocked out.
I have no actual insight to back up.
I mean, his whole game plan is to time big shots, which Semelsberger's going to throw, and he dives underneath the big shots, and he's very good at it, right? That's how he uses his grappling. He waits for somebody to throw a big shot, he dives underneath it, he gets you to the ground. If you're Semelsberger, you cannot throw big shots early, and that's going to be hard with a guy that's been getting first-round finishes. He's probably going to come off, throw a big shot early. AJ's going to change levels and take him down. If you're Semelsberger, you just kind of play the waiting game and wait for those big shots later because you could get taken down in the beginning. But I mean, look at this dude, dumb little face. I mean, Jesus Christ, he's gonna get knocked down. He's gonna get knocked out. Look at these guys. If you went side by side, who of these guys is gonna get knocked out? Let's take that poll. Who's going to get knocked out? It's got to be AJ.
Anyway, here we go. I got AJ. AJ is a powerhouse grappler. He has the size. Well, he's much shorter, but he is thick and strong. So a couple things here. Everybody knows at this point I'm on the other side of this. I'm all over AJ. First, Plague Runner, are you the person that I bet? I bet somebody on Tuesday's live stream, and I forget who. I forget the fight. I don't remember at all. Was it you? Because I want to make sure I get paid. So I forget who I bet. Anyway, I like AJ Fletcher to win this fight, and I'll tell you why. Let me do the breakdown first. Matt Semelsberger, 9-3 overall. He's 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off a TKO win just 4 months ago. AJ Fletcher. Okay. AJ Fletcher is 9-0 overall, 5-0 in his last 5. Coming off a solid Contender Series win. All the people saying AJ fought nobodies, he fought regional guys. Well, literally, Jacob, you just said Matt Semelsberger knocked people out. You complain about his level of competition, but he did what he was supposed to do. Literally the exact same narrative with AJ Fletcher. He dominated everybody he's fought so far. And what else could you possibly need this guy to do? Secondly, he is very good in his feet and very well-timed takedowns. And when I did my research on this fight, I take my notes, I do my research, I write it all up, I make my pick, then I look at the odds. Because I found when I was looking at the odds first, that would like sway my pick. Sometimes I'll dig into the odds and I'm like, this fight is razor thin. Then I'll look at the odds, it's a minus 600 favorite. This time, I was like, okay, AJ Fletcher's going to be the favorite here, blah, blah. And then I saw he was a 2-1 underdog. I was shocked because if you watch his tape, the dude has fast, powerful hands. He has some of the fastest takedowns, the fastest takedown entries you will see. He just whoop, bang right into those legs. Whoop. Matt Semelsberger, he is an aggressive striker. He marches forward. He does have solid leg kicks. He's got power. He's proven that he can knock people out with one single punch. And he does have 100% takedown defense. But that's only defending one single takedown. So that's sort of a skewed stat. It's 100%.
100% is 100%. So.
And only one single person one time tried to shoot on him. And that was
Jason Witt was a grappler who came in. I picked Jason Witt in that fight to out-grapple Matt Semelsberger, and I will not make that mistake again.
But Jason Witt doesn't wrestle the same way AJ Fletcher does. And listen, I could be way off here, but I'm a wrestler. I've wrestled my whole life. There are different...
Here we go. Jeez, I mean, Jesus Christ. We get it.
There are... Tell us about your athletic accomplishments. Yeah, we'll wait.
I was a 4-time varsity letterman in high school. I was on the Mountain Dew Junior Golf Tour. I was getting many calls.
So, AJ Fletcher, his wrestling style, he takes a lot of shots. He dives in on those legs. He gets there fast as hell, where that's not how Jason Witt wrestles. Jason Witt doesn't just drop and go. So anyway, Matt Semelsberger loads up on a shot. He headhunts. As soon as he loads up, AJ Fletcher is in. He's on those legs. He's getting that takedown. I do worry about his cardio. That's the one thing I worry about. He's only been to one single decision, and he's not necessarily built for cardio. But I like AJ Fletcher here. I understand just how dangerous Matt Semelsberger is, but he needs to be careful. And a lot of the people, last thing, a lot of the people screaming and yelling, well, did you see the height difference, the reach difference, 67 inches to 75? You guys are putting way too much stock into that. Reach only matters if you know how to use it. Matt Semelsberger.
I don't know. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I don't know if his arms are long enough to body lock somebody. I don't know if he can reach. I honestly don't think he can reach around and body lock somebody.
He doesn't need.
He's going to have to just single. I mean, single leg is his only option.
It could be. Yeah, it could be. You and I, when you come over later to watch the fights, we'll wrestle. And
I mean, have you seen? I mean, I got like an 84-inch reach, so there's no way you're touching me with this thing right here.
Yeah, you scratch your knees standing vertical.
And
anyway,
right there.
I do like AJ Fletcher. I get people on the Semelsberger side, but you guys are giving him way too much credit. Like he's this technical striker with a square stand that can just keep you at range. That is not who he is. He's taller, but if anything, that is more leg to shoot in on. Growing up wrestling, the longer kids were much easier to take down unless they were like leg riders and scramblers. But Matt Semelsberger is neither one of those things. I like AJ Fletcher. I think he shoots a million takedowns. I think he gets there fast. He gets there often. I put a full unit bet on him at plus 220. Let's see what the odds are right now.
Let me just
plus 160. So a lot of people
I just
are on my
want to
side.
scroll up real fast. Bonkiki had a great comment here. Angelo looks like he was recording stats for the high school basketball team. Jacob, that's me, looks like he was the state champion wrestler, and I was close. So I mean, you're not far off.
Absolutely. Jacob's a very good. Why don't you stand up, show him your fight stance? Do a shot real quick. Do a shot. Take a shot.
I don't like. I got the head.
No,
movement.
just show him your wrestling stance. I would love you to show them that.
What's that?
That's
I mean, if this bed went here in my guest house, if I had some more room,
I bet. Anyway, we've got Matt Semelsberger at 62%. So my sales pitch did nothing, and that's fine. Semelsberger at 62%. AJ Fletcher at 33%. Don't add this fight to the parlay at 5%. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to add Semelsberger to our full card parlay. Let's click over. Let's see what that does. And Giovanni, fight companions have been tricky because what?
that newest comment. I mean, he's banned for sure.
Show him the eyebrows, Jake.
Show him the eyebrows, Jake.
Fight companions are tricky because I do have a wife and young children. And these fight nights start at, what the hell time do the fight nights start? Like 3 o'clock in the afternoon Central Time?
They start here in about 45 minutes.
So those are always tricky. And then the pay-per-views, I always have people that come over, and it's hard if I'm like, hey, guys, thanks for coming over. Shut the hell up. I have to do
Can
a
you
fight
answer
companion.
Plague Runner? He keeps copy and pasting this.
What does it say?
Your $20 was on the Bruno Pajeda, but he'll take it on the Fletcher one too, I guess.
Was it the Fletcher one? Plague, I'll do it. Was it the Fletcher one? Screenshot this so I don't fucking keep screwing it up. Here we go. This is the post being made after I win and you don't pay up. Did you guys like that Parker Porter video I had him do? I texted Parker and I was like, a whole bunch of these clowns in the live chat owe me money. Can you just film this for me real quick and send it over? So I thought that
honestly
funny.
was one of the best things I've ever seen. That was hilarious. The way he did it too, because there's people that will do that and just kind of like blah blah blah, but his like tone and delivery was perfect. I loved it.
Yeah, he was. He did a good job. I mean, Parker's a. I mean, I spent many years with Parker. He's a very funny. He's funny, normal, cool dude, and he used to be a bouncer, so he knows how to look intimidating when he needs to. We're adding Semelsberger minus 200 favorite, a 2-1 favorite. That takes our payout to $638 on a $20 bet. I'm sure this next fight will probably get us. It depends who you pick. The next fight's a big one. Will probably get us.
Gonna pick.
Probably get us over the $1,000 mark. Let's jump right in, guys. Everybody watching, first of all, thank you so much. We've been a little off topic today. It feels like a very casual pre-fight live stream for some reason. But we're building a full card parlay. We're taking your picks from the live chat. We're throwing $20 at a full card parlay. And if it hits, all the money is going to go to the members of our YouTube channel. So hit the join button, become a member. And even if it's not for the parlay, for the bets, all that crap, just hit the join button. Support us. We love it. You get a fancy crown in the comments. Jakey boy, why don't you go ahead, give them your breakdown. I'll give mine. We're split on this one as well while I type up the poll in YouTube.
Yeah, I just want to. It's one comment real quick. Channel Spoke says, "Sucks, Jakey boy. Don't have eyebrows because I can't tell if he's mad, happy, or sad." So, yeah. I mean,
the answer is sad.
Yeah, it's sad all the time, except for this fight because apparently, for whatever reason in the world, Bruno Silva has come out, and who knows if he's lying, if he's just playing the game. Said, "No, I'm not going to wrestle this guy. I want to strike with him." So for whatever reason, in the entire world, Bruno Silva, believes that he wants and will have success striking against Alex Pereira. And God bless him for it, because Jesus Christ, nobody should ever strike with Alex Pereira. If he actually is who we think he is, and he gets all the way and is able to fight Izzy again, if you're Adesanya, I think you spend the next 2 years trying to learning how to offensive wrestle, because if you fight Alex Pereira again, you probably just want to wrestle him. If you're Izzy, you don't want to strike with this guy. So if Bruno Silva wants to strike with this guy, God bless him. He's going to win me some money. I haven't placed any money on Pereira yet. I was trying to see what the odds were going to do, but I am going to make a pre-fight bet on Alex Pereira. I think he's just absolutely going to dominate this fight. I wouldn't be surprised, because Alex Pereira is a Glover, one of those the Glover camp guys, right? And so you know he's going to get the wrestling in that he needs if Bruno is going to offensive grapple. I wouldn't be surprised if Alex Pereira comes in and maybe even shows kind of a level change to kind of put it in Bruno's mind, like, holy shit, because we saw Bruno in his last fight kind of get taken down over and over. So if you kind of level change and just kind of get him thinking about, wait, hold on, is he going to try to out-grapple me? All of a sudden, those head kicks are there, those big shots over the top are there, those overhand rights are there. If you guys are picking Bruno Silva in this matchup, and I know Angelo is, we have a bet on this. I think it's 100. I'll give you 100 if Bruno wins. You give me 50 if Pereira wins. Correct me if I'm wrong if that's not our bet, but I've never. That's the easiest $50 I've ever made in my life. Bruno, maybe if he grapples, has an opportunity here, but Alex is going to get the reps in he needs with Glover in that camp. This is an Alex Pereira play all the way. All the way.
So listen, I get everybody picking Pereira. It's how could you not, right? The guy is a phenomenal Muay Thai kickboxer. He knocked out Israel Adesanya. This should be a stand-up fight. How could you not pick him? I totally understand all of those things, but I'm still on the Bruno Silva side. And I'll walk you through why. I don't need to walk through all their credentials and their record and all that crap. Because at this point, Alex Pereira, nasty kickboxer. Bruno Silva, very good, very well-rounded MMA fighter. And this is an MMA fight. We have 4-1. Alex Pereira has 5 fights. 5. Obviously, a wealth of combat experience, but only 5 actual fights inside of a cage. Bruno Silva has 28 fights inside of a cage. Bruno Silva also has insane power in his hands, as Alex Pereira does. Is he as technical? Not even close. Does he hit as hard? It's hard to tell. They're both flatlining people, so that's honestly hard to tell. But the reason I like Bruno Silva here, and this isn't like it's not the most confident pick I've ever had in my life, but the odds were good, so I did bet on Bruno Silva. The reason I like Bruno Silva here is because he is the more well-rounded guy. Go watch any of his fights outside of the UFC. He's taking people down. He's using jiu-jitsu. He's controlling people with wrestling, and he's got big, heavy hands. And even though Alex Pereira, wants to strike and is the better striker, he will still have to worry about, are there takedowns coming my way? And if Bruno Silva starts faking takedowns and then coming up over the top, that is there. And then the last thing I'll say about this is a lot of these guys, this is not the first time we would have seen a very, very high-level kickboxer get knocked out in MMA. This would not be the first time. Go back to the, Razor Rob McCullough days when, Razor Rob was a world champion and he was just getting put out because they, A, have taken a lot of damage coming up to this point. B, they get used to blocking with those big, heavy kickboxing gloves, and the little MMA gloves sneak right through. So, with all that being said, Alex Pereira is the favorite. Alex Pereira should be the favorite. One of these dudes is getting knocked out. I just like Bruno Silva in the underdog spot. He has looked absolutely unstoppable recently. The guy hasn't lost a fight in, 8 years or something absurd like that.
One loss in 10 years.
One loss in 10 years. So I like Bruno Silva. This is not, I'll argue with you all day about AJ Fletcher. I'm not going to argue here. How could I? I mean, Alex Pereira has proven that he's a phenomenal, ridiculous striker. He proved it in the octagon and he proved it in a kickboxing ring. So I'm not going to argue, but big fan of both these guys, but I am on the Bruno Silva side.
Yeah, this is one of those, another one of those when they were at face-offs. It looked like a light heavyweight and a middleweight. I mean, Pereira is a monster. I mean, it says it's a 4-inch difference here, but that, I mean, it literally looks like a light heavyweight versus a middleweight in this matchup.
No, he's very tall. He's very big. He hits like a truck. You know, we've heard all the things, right? He's coming out of that Glover Teixeira camp. I'm from Connecticut. Glover's from Connecticut. We go way back. Glover and I were wrestling each other when he just came to America, was working at the deli. And I was the wrestling coach of the high school team, and he would come and wrestle. And I've known him a very long, literally when he was in his 20s. So I've known him a very long time. And all the stuff from him and everybody else that talked to him is that Alex Pereira is the real deal. He's like Tung Po from the movie Kickboxer, just kicking things and the building's rattling with dust falling off the ceiling. So I totally get it. My neighbor Bo said, how many times has Pereira had to get off his back in his MMA career? Not many, although he was taken down twice in his UFC debut and still managed to put together a flying knee knockout to make that happen. So we're on opposite sides of this. He's not from Connecticut, you goovan, but he's lived in Connecticut the last 20 plus years. Okay. Alex Pereira, 67%. It is funny. I can convince people because it was like 73% and then it swayed. Alex Pereira, 67%
73
of the vote.
to 67. Wow, you're very convincing.
Look at that, huh? I'm not going to argue with this. It's very reasonable. I 100% get it. And, we're not very likely that I'm on the wrong side of this. Alex Pereira, minus 200 favorite. We added him to the parlay. 20 Dujaloons. Almost over the $1,000 mark. Almost. $967 is the payout on a $20 bet. All of the money, if this hits, obviously, big if, that's why the odds are so crazy, will go to the members of this channel. Click the join button under the video to become a member and qualify yourself for what would honestly be an amazing payout. If this hits, A, everybody will make a whole bunch of money, which is great. B, that's the new logo for the channel, right? Just the ticket, the payout ticket. And it's your picks, so you guys can hang your hat on it. Click the join button, support the channel. We have 185 of you watching right now, and we appreciate every single one. Let's end this poll and move on to the next fight. We've got another controversial fight and a very trendy fight as well. We've got Drew Dober taking on Terrence McKinney. The trend and the cool pick is Terrence McKinney. I get why, but Jacob, why don't you give us your thoughts, and I'll go ahead and put up the poll.
Yeah, listen, I know why the odds are the way they are. I don't know what they are now. They are minus 170, which makes a little bit more sense. I could see why Drew Dober is a favorite, and that's just because it's short notice for Terrence McKinney. But when you watch these guys fight, and maybe someone can explain to me, because I know there's some people in the chat like, oh, there's no way Terrence McKinney can beat Drew Dober. It's like, what are you seeing from Drew Dober where you think that Terrence McKinney just can't beat him? He's not. And I made this in our breakdown, and this is going to, like, look, Drew Dober wins by KO. Like, he's got the. I made this comparison in the breakdown. I'm going to stick by it. In the lightweight division, Drew Dober is the new Jeremy Stephens. He's good everywhere. Jeremy Stephens is very, very tough. He's very, very good everywhere. He's got real power. Drew Dober's got power. He can kind of wrestle as well. But if you look at Jeremy Stephens' career, every time he gets to that point where it's like, okay, if you win this fight, now it's the next step, he always loses. Drew Dober is one of those guys that's just going to be around forever. He's always going to be in that top 15 conversation, maybe crack the top 10 once or twice. But when he reaches real competition against specialists, where Terrence McKinney is not really a specialist, even though he is a grappler, he does have knockout power. But Terrence McKinney is going to out-wrestle Drew Dober. He's going to get on his legs. He's going to out-wrestle him. He's going to control him. And Drew Dober's power is not going to mean anything in this fight. So I understand why Terrence McKinney is the underdog, being the short notice fight that it is. But if these guys have full camps, you cannot tell me that you're going to pick Drew Dober against Terrence McKinney when both these guys have full camps coming in, because Terrence McKinney has a real path to victory. And that is with his JUCO wrestling. He can get this fight to the ground. Even if he can't get to the ground, if you talk about power, Drew Dober is probably the more technical striker, but pure power, we've seen it from Terrence McKinney now time and time again. So you guys are crazy if you think Drew Dober, obviously he can win this fight. He is a very good fighter, but I don't know where he wins the fight. I don't know.
Robert, smiley face, new name. How many fighters have won after 2 weeks after a fight? How about Chimaev? That bro won every week for like 3 weeks in a row.
Didn't Lupi too? Lupi Godinez? Didn't she fight like?
She lost a short notice fight. But Chimaev is the first example that comes to mind. Ronda Rousey did it. We don't really hear too often of this happening, so it's hard to think of. And what are you going to say? Let's put it this way. Bobby Green just lost to Islam, but like 2 weeks, not 2 weeks, that's happening. So, the quick turnaround, I think it just depends. Obviously we just saw Moicano lose to RDA. That's still a little different. Rafael Dos Anjos is not Drew Dober, and Moicano's not Terrence McKinney. So, I'm also on the trendy pick here, and there's going to be a lot of people thinking that they're so smart on the wrong side of this. If we're all wrong, I've got a money line bet on Terrence McKinney. I got him at plus 185. That line has moved to plus 135. Holy shit. He started as a plus 230 favorite, and now he's only plus 135. Holy crap. What a line movement that is. Anyway, I like Terrence McKinney to win this as well. And the one thing that is really just making that as clear as possible for me, actually, Preston, you just said it in the live chat here. Brad Riddell, who's a kickboxer with no formal wrestling background whatsoever, took Drew Dober down 5 times. 5. Terrence McKinney is a JUCO All-American wrestler. JUCO, for you non-wrestling fans, which is totally fine, is junior college. And a lot of those junior college wrestlers are essentially D1 wrestlers that couldn't get a scholarship for whatever reason. So John Jones was a JUCO All-American wrestler. So Terrence McKinney's a nasty wrestler. We've seen he has power. We've seen him grapple. I will say, we've also seen him knocked out. Everybody's just magically forgetting that Terrence McKinney was knocked out on the Contender Series a few years ago. And then people were like, well, that was at 145 pounds. Well, that's even worse. So he was knocked out by a 145 pounder. So you could say he cut too much weight and now he's fine at 155. There's a million factors here. I think the odds as they sit right now actually make the most sense. Terrence McKinney, a plus 135 underdog. Drew Dober, a minus 165 favorite. I actually think that's what the odds should be. The plus 230 underdog status is crazy. Because like Jacob said, Drew Dober, he does hit hard and he's got a granite chin. But the reality is that's it. He's a kickboxer with a really good chin. He doesn't have much in the way of grappling, either defensively, offensively. And Terrence McKinney, if he sticks to the wrestling, should have no problem. It is a quick turnaround. We've seen him knocked out before. Those two things are why he should be a slight underdog as he is right now. The way the odds sit right now, he makes a lot of sense. I don't know if I'd bet him at plus 135, honestly. But I absolutely bet him at plus 185. Because I do think he's the underdog. But let's see what you guys say in the voting poll. 84% of you. This will be very interesting. If Terrence McKinney comes out there and does what he's supposed to do, or what the vast majority of people think he's going to do, it's interesting because great, right? He's a big deal. He's going to be a big deal. He's doing awesome things. But if he loses, there's going to be so many people just absolutely dead wrong. And it'll be interesting to see, with Vegas and the line setters and all of that. Everybody thinks they're smarter than Vegas. Vegas is correct the vast majority of the time. Jacob, start talking while I answer the phone.
Let's move on to the next fight because we're running out of time here. So switch over to the Carl Robinson Roundtree fight, and we'll start talking about that. I'll just do my spiel. There you go. He switched the fight. So this fight is going to be close, guys. And somebody actually mentioned in the comments, I called Carl Robinson an accomplished kickboxer. He's 0-3 as a kickboxer, but he has kickboxing experience. One of his fights that he lost, he knocked the dude down twice. And apparently, I was reading on it, it was like a bullshit decision. He knocked the dude down twice. There was one one count where the ref gave the guy 30 seconds to recover where it should have been like a standing 8 count or whatever. And that dude is 86-22-2 as a kickboxer. His other loss is to Dustin Jacoby, who we know is a very, very accomplished kickboxer. So in this matchup, I think it's going to be a kickboxing match. If Robertson is able to withstand the Khalil blitzing early, Khalil's always going to have that power early, and he looked absolutely shredded at weigh-in. So Khalil looks fantastic. Maybe he's got some cardio to back that up. But if this gets out of the first round, this should be a Carl Robertson play all the way. I'm very, very actually confident in Carl Robertson in this matchup. I think it's, let's see what the odds are now. He's a minus 140 now, so it's kind of moved a little bit. But I love Carl Robertson in this matchup. His 4 losses are all submission losses. He's never lost a striking battle, so... he has no issues with. He's not going to get submitted by Khalil Roundtree in this matchup. So I'm Carl Robertson all the way in this matchup. I think I had him in my DraftKings lineup, but I kind of took him out. I think he's decent value, $8,200, but I put a over. What was my bet on this? Over 2.5 rounds. I think this fight goes the distance. I think it's kind of boring, unless there's obviously an early knockout. But I think it's just a boring kickboxing match, and Carl is able to withstand the power, and I think he wins a decision. So I'm Carl Robertson all the way. Are you there, Angelo?
I'm back.
Thank God.
Sorry about that. No, the wife called, and I got to answer whether I'm live streaming or not. She doesn't care. Women don't care. Women don't care. Anyway,
I wouldn't answer, but
this is an interesting fight. I added Terrence McKinney to our full card parlay. That took the payout to $2,299.56. Okay, the payout just got enormous because we added a medium-sized underdog. Anyway, talking about this fight. Oh, I have to add Khalil Roundtree. Let me add the poll here. But this is an interesting fight because I actually like Carl Robertson to win. I think Carl Robertson can get it done. I think he's more well-rounded. He does have that kickboxing experience. You mentioned that some people attacked you about that. And I get it because he wasn't necessarily wildly successful, but he did have... he had those professional fights. He trained for those professional fights. He did have some success in those fights. So to just dismiss it is absurd. It's absurd. That's like saying, somebody entered a wrestling tournament and who should we add? Somebody entered a wrestling tournament. Yeah, they didn't win the tournament, so they suck at wrestling. No, they entered. They competed. They trained for it, and they tried to make stuff happen. So I like Roundtree to win. Robertson to win as well. I think because he's a decently well-rounded guy. He's got solid striking. He does have sneaky submissions in his back pocket as well. The problem for him seems to be that he just hasn't had very good matchups. He's had a lot of tougher fights. If you look at who each of them have fought, I think Carl Robertson has absolutely had the tougher slate of fighters, and he's had the tougher, higher level of competition. I don't even think that's very questionable. But he's a solid fighter. He's well-rounded. The odds makers have it as a pick'em right now. It opened as a pick'em, and right now Roberson's a good-sized favorite at minus 140. So a lot of people seem to be on the Robertson side, and I think that has to do with people can't necessarily trust Khalil Roundtree because he can be a low-volume guy at times. He could just not stick to that striking game plan at times, and you can't necessarily trust him with your money, and people seem to be trusting Carl Robertson just a little more. So let's see who you guys like.
I think we're going to
wow, it's split dead even. Yeah, we have 43% Khalil Roundtree, 43% Robertson, 14% do not add this to the parlay. So let's look at the stats very quickly, and then we'll go ahead. And if somebody gets over 50%, we'll add them. If not, then it is what it is. But what's interesting is Khalil Roundtree, who everybody thinks is just this amazing, powerful striker, negative striking differential, lands 3.24 to receive 3.58. And that's obviously not great.
And he's one of those guys where we don't know. He could come out and look fantastic, or he could look flat. He's one of those guys that you just have no idea how the hell he's going to look. Very inconsistent.
Yeah. No, exactly. I think I think the consensus here is we're going to skip this fight. We're not going to add this to the full card parlay. So let's skip it. We've got 37% of you saying Roundtree wins, 41% saying Robertson wins, and 22% don't even add this. So we're not going to add this. Let me shut that poll down. Let's move on to the next fight.
Stuff.
Anybody just hopping in now, we're building a full card parlay. We're doing it with your picks from the live chat. And if the parlay hits, right now the payout's $2,300. If the parlay hits, all of the money is going to the subscribers of this channel. So let's jump into this one. We've got Bruce Leroy taking on Sadiq Youssef, and this is a tough fight. What are your thoughts, Jacob, as I add the poll to the live stream?
All I want to say here is I have a submission bet for Alex Caceres.
Shut up. Shut your stupid ass mouth. Zach 11B, thank you very much for the donation. Zach says, what's your guys' top 3 DraftKings plays? Wow, he's really going to derail this entire conversation with $5. All right, Jacob, very quickly, let's answer his question.
I mean, I'm looking up I got to look at my DraftKings values here.
I have my lineup
plays, so.
So do I. All right, I'll tell you my top 3. Zach, this is a tough DraftKings week because the pricing is all over the place. I'll tell you who I've got.
I'll tell you who I got. I think Terrence McKinney at $7,200. I think we both agree with that. Great value. Terrence McKinney, $7,200. I have Alex Pereira. You don't agree with that. I think he's good value at $8,900. I think he's going to get a knockout finish. And my other value play, obviously Miranda Maverick's probably a lock at $94, but the other value play that Angelo kind of mentioned earlier in the week, kind of the poor man's Miranda Maverick, is Jillian Robertson at $8,500. I think she's able to get some takedowns, control some position. So if you're looking for good value plays, I think those are it. Obviously, the main event here is probably maybe a lock, and Miranda Maverick's probably a lock too. So
I agree with every single one of that. I would say Ankalaev should be in your lineup. I like AJ Fletcher. He's $6,900, but a lot of people aren't going to agree with that. Miranda Maverick should absolutely be in your lineup. Terrence McKinney probably should, but I actually think the whole world's going to have Terrence McKinney in there. So I would say if you're doing a big tournament, leave Terrence McKinney out. Leave him out. Find a different underdog like an AJ Fletcher that you think can get it done. I like Bruno Silva, but I don't disagree with Alex Pereira being in your lineup as well because he's supposed to win. He's supposed to win by knockout.
Zach, do not put AJ Fletcher in your lineup. I tell you, do not do that. I would not do that. But thank you for the 5. We appreciate that. So I'll get right into the Alex Caceres. What I was going to mention was Tuesday I saw some crazy odds for submission wins for Alex Caceres. I think that's not the only way he can win, but I think that's his path to victory, and I think he's able to get that done. I placed a bet earlier this week for round 1, round 2, round 3 submission for Alex Caceres. I got plus 2,500. Plus 2,800 and plus 3,300 odds on that. I put a half unit on each. Now those odds are plus 1,800, plus 2,000, plus 2,500. So almost half on some of those for the submission bet. So shifting a little bit, I think that's his path to victory. I think he can win some scrambles with Sadiq. Obviously, Sadiq's going to have the technical striking. He's going to have the power. Caceres can definitely get knocked out. He's been knocked down and I think knocked out before, but a lot of his losses are submission losses where he tries to win scrambles. He can't quite get there. He's a very opportunistic grappler, and if Sadiq gives him a second, an opportunity, Alex is going to be on his back, and he's going to be threatening submissions. I can see that fight playing out. My pick is Alex Caceres. I don't love it. I think it was like one of my lowest confident picks in this fight. I just think that in the opportunistic scrambles, Alex is going to find a way to get his back and find a submission. So that's where I put my money, and that's going to be my pick.
Yeah, I'm on the opposite side of that. I like Sadiq Youssef to win. It is hard to ignore Alex's recent surge, right? He's 5-0 in his last 5, coming off a really nice win over Sang-Woo Choi. That was a fight he was not supposed to win, and he did, and he won by submission. He looked fantastic doing it. So I totally get why a lot of people are on the Alex Caceres side. It's hard to ignore what he's done lately. You know, he started his career as a fun, young, talented guy, then spent a good chunk of his career just never living up to who he could be as a fighter. And then now later in his career, he's beating everybody they're putting in front of him, and he's doing really well. But if you look at who he's beaten, his last couple of wins, the Sang-Woo Choi one is a solid win. The ones before that, it's not necessarily the highest level of competition. And, you know, he got a little bit of trouble with a Kevin Kroom on short notice. So I imagine Sadiq Youssef should win this fight, should do really well. You know, I think it's close because Alex Caceres is a tough, durable guy, can make fights closer than they should be. But I think Sadiq Youssef, he's a fantastic striker. He's got a ton of power, incredible speed, wide variety of strikes. If you look at his fight against Mike Davis, that might be the greatest Contender Series fight of all time. He uses his kicks really well. His takedown defense is on point. And his cardio is very, very good. So I think Sadiq wins this fight. I think he can keep a pace, play a smart game. And, you know, Caceres is a good grappler. And this 78% takedown accuracy, these are the stats. This is what they are. But that feels bloated. right? That feels high.
Yeah, he's not shooting single legs and getting people to the ground. It's just opportunistic takedowns. So
Yeah, and it's that just feels high. So I think Sadiq's going to win all the striking exchanges, and I think he should be able to defend a takedown or two. And so I think it's Sadiq's fight. Let's see what you guys vote. Do you have any bets with anyone in the Bruno Silva? No, I'm not going to bet.
you have
I already bet Jacob, and I bet the sports book. I'm not going to take any more bets on that fight. I'm fully aware of how risky betting that fight is. So sorry. Sorry. You know I love betting the live chat, but not this time. Guys, we have Alex Caceres at 33%, Sadiq Youssef at 51%, and don't add this at 14%. So 51% is the winner. Let's go ahead, hop over. We're going to, down to 50%. Uh-oh.
just add him. You got to add him to that. You can't just skip every fight.
I mean, we already have 9.
I have Alex. I would still say.
Sadiq dropped to 49%. Alex, a late surge. Let's go ahead and we'll add Sadiq. And as I'm adding him, if something changes, we will go from there. I'll show you where we are. So right now, the payout is $22.99. That's a giant payout on a $20 bet.
I told you it was going to be 10,000.
So let's go ahead. We will add Sadiq. Oh, minus 275. But that still takes us to $3,143. So plus 15,715 is the payout. We're building a full card parlay. We're doing it with your picks from the live chat. If the parlay hits, all the money is going to go to the members of this channel. Click the join button, become a member, get a fancy crown in the comments, and support us along the way. Let's shut down that poll. We only have 2 fights left, and we will do it quickly. Jakey boy, why don't you walk us through your thoughts on Marlon Moraes versus Song Yadong?
Yeah, I saw a quote from Marlon Moraes, which, God bless him for it. He was talking about how he's ready. He feels like he's ready again to challenge for the title. I'm gonna challenge for the title again. I'm gonna work my way back up there, buddy. Marlon, I love you, man. You just got to focus on winning a fight, man. You have to win just one fight. You have lost your last 5 fights. Technically, he won versus Aldo, but everyone knows he lost that fight versus Aldo. That is 5 fights and a loss that you have. There are 5 fights in a row that you have lost, sir. So you want to talk about title this and title that, I want to be a contender again. You better just win one fight. And it's not going to be this fight. It's going to be Song Yadong. Marlon's going to have a shot. It's probably going to look fantastic in the first round. He's going to come out. He's going to land some shots. And obviously, he was winning that fight versus Merab. He did everything he could to try and finish that fight, and the ref just would not stop it, and then he just got tired. Song Yadong in this matchup, I just see this. Maybe not. I think the speed is probably a wash, but the power, I think Song Yadong's going to be there. I think the technique, it's going to be Song Yadong. A lot of people are going to be on the Marlon side because he is the underdog, but what have you done for me lately, right? I mean, that's the way I look at it for Marlon. He did look good in his last fight until he started getting taken down by Merab, but Merab is not a striker, and Song Yadong is one of the better strikers in this division. I think it's back and forth in the first round, and then Song Yadong kind of just takes over in the second and the third. I'm Song Yadong all the way in this matchup. I have him in one of my parlays, I believe. Marlon is a good fighter, and I love Marlon. He's had a tough go. He got up to that competition. He's fought those top-level guys, but he's literally lost every single one of them. So I think this is another loss for him, and we'll see if he can reinvent himself a little bit, but I'm Song Yadong in this matchup.
Yeah, I'm with you. I completely agree. Marlon Moraes, very dangerous, very good striker, fantastic kicks. He does all the things, and he does all of them well. The problem is he's starting to age out. He's taking more damage than he should have at this point in his career at his age. And Song Yadong has looked very good. He's not the most reliable guy on the planet, but he has looked very good. He's only 24 years old. I have to imagine he's improving at a rapid pace. He did knock out Julio Arce a few months ago. He is hittable, though. My biggest concern here is he's hittable. He's hit 3.77 times with significant strikes per minute. I totally get Marlon Moraes has hit even more, but I think Marlon Moraes hits harder than Song Yadong. I think Marlon Moraes is more accurate than Song Yadong.
And those were probably skewed a little bit because that Merab fight, he literally was beat on for like a full round. I mean, he's tough as hell, but it was literally just elbow, elbow, elbow. So those are a little skewed.
Well, and we're talking about Marlon Moraes hasn't won a fight in a while. Let's take a look at who he lost to. He lost his last 4 losses. Merab Davishvili, nasty wrestler, nonstop nasty wrestler. Rob Font, nasty boxer who just pushed the pace. Corey Sandhagen just fought what's his name for an interim title, and Henry Cejudo,
Probably beat
who was the
Dillashaw.
champion. A lot of people think he did. And Henry Cejudo. So it's not like Marlon Moraes is just getting out there
And
smoked.
Jose Aldo.
Well, I said
He
losses,
he
but
lost.
yeah.
You know, I saw a stat real quick. Jose Aldo has never lost to anyone that wasn't a champion or a number 1 contender in his UFC career. Isn't that crazy?
I mean, it's not. It sounds crazy, but Jose Aldo is one of the best to ever do it, and he always has been. Like, even when he was losing fights, he was still one of the best to do it. So I'm a big Jose Aldo guy. Always have been. And I remember when the first time you and I ever watched a fight together was the Conor Jose fight. And I'm like, Jose Aldo's going to kick his ass. And then Conor starts him, obviously. But
I knew nothing. I knew nothing at that time. I'm like, oh no, this Conor guy's really. You're like, dude, you don't understand how good Jose Aldo is. He is going to destroy this clown Conor McGregor. Whoops.
Well, it is what it is. Let's see the voting. 73% Song Yadong. We don't need to spend a ton more time. Let me go ahead. We will break this down. Hold on. Let me add Song Yadong minus 275.
Make sure this is placed too before the first fight.
That's why I'm picking up the pace here. That takes our odds to plus 21,466, which is a payout of $4,293 if this full card parlay hits. Okay, let's get through this fight. I'll read off the parlay, and I will get this bet placed in the next 14 minutes because I got to get it placed. We are under the gun. We've got Thiago Santos versus Magomed Ankalaev in the main event. 2 light heavyweight bangers. Thiago Santos was a middleweight who came up, but he brought his power with him. A lot of people think he beat John Jones in that fight. I think he lost. I'm not one of the people that think he beat John Jones in that fight. I think he lost that fight, but he did look very good in it, but he has not been the same person since that fight. He had 2 busted knees. I don't think he's fully recovered from that, and I think those knees, they're either still giving him trouble. He's come back I don't know what the deal is, but Thiago Santos has just been a shell of himself. He still has power, but he's been a little gun shy. He's not really taking risks. He did almost knock out Glover Teixeira big time, but Glover was able to take him down the second round.
I think isn't that every Glover fight? People almost knock out Glover and then they get taken down and submitted.
Yeah, I mean, yes. And what's funny is he started his career. He's always been a grappler, but he started the successful run of his career with his striking, and then later in life he's had to go back to the grappling, which that's just what age does to you. Magomed Ankalaev, he's one of these Dagestani killers, but he's a very good kickboxer. He's long, he's rangy, and he uses that range really well. He's got devastating kicks. He'll throw them right up the middle. He'll chop up your legs. He's got power in his hands. He's very versatile, and he can grapple. So if he gets into some trouble on his feet, he does have a backup plan, but I think he's better on his feet as well. So I'm all over Ankalaev here. Jacob, what are your thoughts while I start building the parlay and getting this thing placed?
Yeah, Ankalaev.
Well, just keep talking, you absolute muppet.
Yeah, I think Ankalaev wins.
The least helpful person in the world.
I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. If first of all, the striking, if people are kind of worried about the striking maybe with Thiago Santos, look at the Ankalaev knockout on Dalcha, who's on this card. I like Dalcha a lot. But that front kick knockout of Dalcha is like literally the most terrifying thing I've ever heard. This dude's probably got like a size 18 foot that put it right in Dalcha's mouth and just knocked him completely backwards. It was almost like the Johnny Walker KO where it was just smack and it was just kind of slow motion fall like a tree in the forest. So if you're worried about maybe Ankalaev striking, don't be. If you're worried about maybe his grappling, maybe he gets in some trouble because Thiago's a black belt on the ground. So maybe, he's in Thiago's guard, and then Thiago throws up a weird triangle or something. But this should be an Ankalaev play all the way. Lock in the parlay. It's going to be about $5,000. We're going to pay it out. Oh, no, because we missed the first fight. We honestly should just stay live and watch how this parlay misses.
What do you mean we missed the first fight? Oh,
yeah, I mean, we should literally just stay live
you're an idiot.
and
the
watch
way you were
Tafon.
saying it.
No, and just watch Tafon just dominate that fight because you guys screwed up. You guys screwed up big time on that first fight. I mean, we should just stay and watch it.
You're an idiot. Okay.
Excuse me, sir?
Yes, you're an idiot. We have 10 minutes to go. Thank you all very, very much. We had, I think, peak 200 people in here. We appreciate it. I got to get this parlay placed. 92% of you were saying Ankalaev, so we're going to do that. Check out
Is Tim Sykes I follow a big trader, stock trader on Twitter called Timothy Sykes. If this is the same guy, I got some questions for you.
Okay. Super helpful. All right, let me go ahead, get this placed. Look for the ticket. We'll post it on the community forum. We'll post it on Instagram, Twitter, all the things. Thank you so much for hanging out. Let me get this bet placed so we can go ahead and hopefully all make a couple of bucks. Stay tuned, and we'll see you guys. Don't forget to go to weonpicks.com/bets. Sign up with any one of our 5 betting partners. Make a deposit. Let me know. I'll send you $50 as a thank you for supporting us and our partners. And tonight, I will be dropping the UFC London Quick Picks video, so check that out. We'll see you guys.